I want to welcome all of you and thank you all for coming today to celebrate my dad's life. I want to share a few stories that are special to me and my family. Dad was a lucky man, very blessed. He found the love of his life, my amazing mother, when he was 23 years old. Mom was 18. They were married on June 11th, 1961. If my math is right, that's 58 years. It's a long time. They showed us what true love is, what it's all about. Dad was fortunate enough to live to see my brother, my sister, and I grow up and become adults, and to see our paths that we chose in life. He loved us unconditionally. He also lived to see his 5 grandkids grow into adults. It was beautiful to see the glowing pride on his face anytime he spoke to them. We truly love you guys. Our dad believed in family first. He has always been there for us. One of my own personal favorite memories of his was he and I working on my first car. It was a 67 Chevy Malibu that I got from Uncle Daniel. Uncle Daniel called me from Waco and told me that the car wasn't running, but if I wanted to and drive up there to see if I can get it running, it was mine. So we drove up there, see if we can get it running, and then drive it home. When we got there, the tires were flat, the battery was gone, it had been stolen. The battery cables had been cut, radiator was leaking, and it had several other issues. But together we worked on it, in about a day and a half, we had a nice 327 engine purring like a kitten. And I drove it home. The car wasn't much to look at, but I loved it, and I always remember the time that Dad and I spent together working on it together. When Dad was a young man, he was a really good athlete. He ran the half-mile in track and was one of the best in the city. He told me once that his parents never came to see him run track or never came to see any of his sporting events. Dad remembered how that felt, and he told me once that he would never do that to his own kids, and he never did. No matter what sporting event, play, or choir concert we were in, Dad was always there, along with Mom. We could always look up in the stands or in the audience and see them there. Dad knew what supporting your own kids meant. It's what good dads do. The other day we were sharing stories of Dad, and Stacy said that once she had a concert while Ryan had his track meet at the same time, or a little earlier that evening. Since we only had one car, and Dad was a huge sports fan, Dad told her that they were probably going to miss her concert because they were going to go see Ryan's track meet. Well, of course, Stacy wasn't a fan of that idea. She ran off very angry and screaming, said, "You don't care about me." And she stormed off and slammed the door and went in her room. But of course, when the curtain opened for her show, Mom and Dad were there in the audience. After the show, Stacy came out to the lobby to greet us, and to her surprise, Mom and Dad were holding a huge sign saying, "We are the uncaring parents of Stacy Brooks." Y'all definitely got a kick out of that one. Dad had a sense of humor. Our dad was a big sports fan, as I said. He was very loyal to our own Houston sports teams. I remember going to Astros, Oilers, and Rockets games with him when I was young. He once took me to an Astros game for my birthday in 1979, and we witnessed Ken Forrest pitch a no-hitter. It was a great memory of mine. We watch and talk about sports a lot. I still remember Dad screaming at the refs when the Oilers' Mike Renfro caught a TD pass from Dan Pastorini in the 1980 playoff games against the Steelers, and they said he was out of bounds. If Dad would have had a glass in his hand, I think he would have thrown it through the TV. He was so angry. Yeah, so was I. The last game he attended was in 2016. Jerry and I took Dad to an Astros game. I remember it was dollar hot dog night. We ate a lot of hot dogs. The Astros won, and we had a blast. Amazingly, it was exactly 3 years ago today. And it's a really great memory for both Jerry and I. As I said before, Dad was a loyal Houston sports fan. And many of you that know him know he had a burning hatred for the Dallas Cowboys. And just about anything Dallas, in fact. Once my story my brother wanted me to share is, once he and I were watching an Oilers and Cowboys game with Dad, and Ryan also brought along two of his buddies, Lee and Eric. While we were watching the game, Lee committed the horrible offense of cheering for the Cowboys when they scored. Dad looked at Lee and told him he could leave. Ryan decided to take up for his buddy and say, "You can't tell him to just leave like that." Dad says, "Oh yeah? You leave too." Finally they left. Dad and I enjoyed the rest of the game, avoided distractions from any annoying Cowboys fans. Oh, it was a great day. I always felt that Dad loved us equally, but my sister was definitely Daddy's girl. He was very protective of her and would give her just about anything she wanted. If she asked Mom for something and Mom said no, she would go to Dad. Of course, Dad would say yes, and then Stacy would go back to Mom and say, "Dad said I could." So, one day when I was about 12, when we were living in Bay Cliff, I was out hunting for birds with a BB gun that had a very sensitive hair trigger. My sweet little sister decided she wanted to go with me, mostly due to scare away the birds. Well, I saw a bird and I had it lined up for a shot. It was just about to pull the trigger when my adorable little sister decided to scream. The bird went away, so her plan worked. But what also happened, she scared me when she screamed. I turned around, touched that hair trigger, and I heard the pow. I turned and I looked at her. She had this shocked look on her face. Mouth was open, nothing was coming out. She clutched her right breast and looked at me and then screamed with a blood-curdling scream, "You shot me!" She was never a fast runner. But when she turned and headed toward the house, I couldn't keep up with her. She kept running and screaming at the top of her lungs for her daddy. Dad heard her screams from inside the house and came out and met her in the driveway. She was crying and telling Dad that I shot her. My run turned into a slow trot and then a fast retreat when I saw the look on his face. He then turned and started running at me. Then my sweet little angel sister decided to save my life when Dad had every intention of ending it. She told Dad it was an accident. So Dad stopped and I came out of hiding and things calmed down. Sis, I want to say thank you for saving my life. Our family get-togethers always consists of a meal together. Whether it was a get-together at a restaurant after an event or a get-together at Mom and Dad's for dinner and one of Mom's amazing home-cooked meals. Dad always treasured those times, as we all did. A few months ago, Mom had made some of her world-famous cabbage rolls. I was sitting next to Dad having dinner and asked him what his favorite meal was that Mom makes. Was it gumbo, steak and rustic gravy, enchiladas, huevos rancheros with Indian bread? He took a big bite of his cabbage roll and with a mouthful said, "It's hard to beat this." I have to agree with you, Dad. Her cabbage rolls are my favorite too. We're all gonna miss sharing meals together with him, hearing his stories that we had heard many times, and hearing his laughter. I want to thank you all again for being here today. Thank you all for keeping Dad and our family in your prayers. We all appreciate everyone that came to see Dad while he was in hospital and always called to check on Mom. Our family is strong, loving, and supportive of each other, and we'll get through this together. Dad, thank you for always being there for us. Thank you for being such a great dad. We'll always love you, and we'll surely miss you. I love you.